Have you ever walked into your home and noticed that everything looks tidy? The floor is swept, the bed is made, and the kitchen counters are wiped down, yet something still feels off. Maybe it's a faint smell in the air. Perhaps it's that thin layer of dust that keeps coming back, no matter how often you clean. Or maybe it's just a feeling you cannot quite name, as if your home isn't as fresh as it should be, even though you've done everything right. You're not imagining it, and you are certainly not alone. You see, there are places in every home, quiet, forgotten places, that almost never get cleaned. Even though that they are small, they play a significant role in how your home smells, how it feels, and even how healthy it is. Most of us don't notice them. We're too focused on the big tasks, the vacuuming, the dishes, the laundry. But these hidden corners quietly collect dust, germs, and odors that affect everything else. Here's the good news. Once you know where to look and how to clean them properly, you can transform your entire home with just a few simple steps. In this video, I'm going to walk you through 10 of the most commonly forgotten dirty spots in the home. Places that are easy to miss but incredibly important. I will show you exactly where they are, why they matter, and how to clean them quickly and easily without spending hours on your feet. And trust me, once you take care of these hidden areas, your home will not just look clean. It will feel clean, truly clean, peaceful, and comfortable, the way a home should be. So stay with me, because this is not just a list of chores. This is about creating a home you love, a space that feels good, a place that feels like you. Let's get started. Tip 1. Doorknobs and light switches. The hands we forget. Let me ask you something simple. How many times do you touch a doorknob or flip a light switch each day? 5 times? 10 more, like 20 or even 30 without thinking about it. From the moment we get out of bed, we're opening doors, turning on lights, and walking from room to room. Our hands go everywhere. And yet, when we clean, these are often the very last spots we remember. The truth is, doorknobs and light switches are among the most touched surfaces in any home, and also the most neglected when it comes to regular cleaning. They are small. They seem harmless. But over time, they collect layers of invisible grime, bacteria, viruses, dust, and grease from our hands. And we carry that with us, from room to room, person to person. One woman told me her grandson used to sneeze every morning, no matter the season. She thought it was just allergies. But after she started wiping down the light switch and doorknob in his room every week, the sneezing stopped. That was the only change. Coincidence? Maybe. But I believe those little things matter more than we think. So here's how to fix it. Once a week, grab a clean, damp cloth and a little disinfectant. You can use a store-bought spray or even a homemade mix of white vinegar and mild dish soap. Gently wipe every doorknob in the house, especially in high-traffic areas like the bathroom, kitchen, and bedrooms. Don't forget the light switches too, but use a lightly damp cloth so you don't damage anything electrical. It only takes a few minutes, but it makes a huge difference, not just in hygiene, but in how your home feels. Because when you take care of these small details, what you're really saying is, I care. Not just about cleanliness, but about the people who walk through those doors every day. And that, my friend, is the kind of home where comfort lives. Tip 2. Remote controls the germs hiding in plain sight. Now let's talk about something we all use every single day, but almost never clean. The remote control. Think about it. You come home, sit down, and without even thinking, your hand reaches for that familiar little device. You change the channel, adjust the volume, maybe even fall asleep with it still in your hand. If you're like many people, you might even eat a snack while flipping through shows, chips, popcorn, cookies. Sound familiar? Now, let me ask you, when was the last time you cleaned your remote? Most of us never do. And yet, the remote control is one of the dirtiest objects in any living room. It picks up oils from our skin, crumbs from our snacks, and germs from every hand that touches it, including grandchildren, guests, or even someone who's been under the weather. One woman told me she always noticed a stale smell in her den. She vacuumed, used air fresheners, even shampooed the carpet. Nothing worked. One day, she cleaned the remote for the first time in months and was shocked by the dirt between the buttons. The smell disappeared. That tiny change made all the difference. So here's what to do. Once a week, take just 2 minutes. Remove the batteries for safety, then use a soft cloth slightly dampened with isopropyl alcohol, the kind safe for electronics. Wipe down the whole remote, especially the buttons and sides. For hard-to-reach spots, a cotton swab dipped in alcohol works wonders. If someone in the home has been sick recently, clean it more often, daily if you can. It's such a small step, but it protects everyone. Let's face it, the remote may be small, but it lives right at the center of our comfort zone. And when it's clean, your living room feels fresher, calmer, and safer. And that's exactly how home should feel. Tip 3. Baseboards. The dust beneath your feet. You've swept the floors, mopped the kitchen, dusted the shelves. Everything looks spotless, but the air still feels a little heavy, a little stale, and you cannot quite figure out why. Look down. No, not at the floor, but just above it. The baseboards. Baseboards are one of the most overlooked areas in home cleaning. They line every room. Yet because they are not eye level, we forget them. Over time, they gather layers of dust, pet hair, crumbs, and even grease from cooking. It all settles there quietly, just beneath our line of sight, but not beneath our lungs. Even if you don't touch them, those dirty baseboards affect the air you breathe. Every time someone walks by or a window opens, that dust gets stirred up again. For people with allergies or asthma, it can make a significant difference in how they feel. One woman shared her story with me. She was deep cleaning her house before the holidays and decided to finally wipe her baseboards. What she found shocked her. Sticky grease in the kitchen corners, mold near the bathroom wall, and thick dust in the hallway. No wonder her home never felt truly clean, even though she worked so hard. Here's the fix. Once every few weeks, run a vacuum along the baseboards using a soft brush attachment. Then take a damp cloth with a mild cleaning solution, just water and a little detergent works fine, and gently wipe them down. For wood baseboards, use a cleaner meant for wood to avoid damage. Focus on corners and spots near doorways and under windows. They tend to collect the most buildup. It might seem like a small task, but the results are big. not just in appearance, but in how your home feels. Because baseboards are like the picture frame for your whole house. When they are clean, everything inside feels brighter, fresher, and more cared for. And you deserve that. Tip 4. Cabinet handles. The hidden grease we overlook. Let's head into the kitchen for a moment. It is a place of warmth, of memories, of family meals. And if your kitchen is like most, it is also one of the busiest rooms in your home. You cook, you clean, you organize, and through it all, your hands are always moving. Now think, how many times a day do you open a cabinet or a drawer? Probably more than you can count, but here's the problem. After slicing meat, stirring a pot, or handling oil, we reach for those cabinet handles without a second thought. Little by little, those spots start to collect a film of grease, dust, and food residue. The strange thing is, we often don't even see it. We just get used to it until one day we notice they feel sticky, or that the wood around the handles has darkened, or that no matter how clean the counters look, something feels off. One viewer told me she had beautiful white cabinets, but over the years they seemed to turn yellow. She thought that they were aging. Turns out it was simply grease building up around the handles. After cleaning them weekly, the cabinets returned to their original color. She was stunned. So here's your easy solution. Once a week, take a damp cloth with a little dish soap or white vinegar. Wipe down each handle, especially the ones you use the most, like your spice cabinet or utensil drawers. For handles with tiny grooves, an old toothbrush works beautifully to reach into the nooks. And here's a little trick. If you have a lot of cabinets, clean one half this week and the other half next week. It keeps the task manageable and regular. These little details may not seem urgent, but when your cabinet handles are clean, your kitchen feels fresher, brighter, and more inviting. And honestly, it's about more dirt than grease. It's about showing love to the heart of your home, one handle at a time. Tip 5. Toothbrush holders. So close to clean, yet so often forgotten. We take care of our teeth. We brush every day, floss when we remember, and maybe even rinse with mouthwash. But there's one thing we forget to check. The place where our toothbrush lives. That humble little toothbrush holder. Most of the time, it sits on the bathroom counter, doing its job quietly. But over time, it becomes one of the dirtiest spots in the entire house. Why? Because it collects moisture from wet brushes, soap splashes from the sink, and even airborne particles from the toilet, if it's nearby. All that moisture creates the perfect environment for mold, mildew, and bacteria. One grandmother wrote to me saying she couldn't figure out why her new toothbrush smelled funny after just a few days. Then she looked inside the holder and found a layer of brown grime at the bottom. It was the first time she had ever cleaned it. Once she started doing it weekly, the smell disappeared, and so did her concerns about mouth irritation. Here's what you can do. Once a week, take 5 minutes to wash the toothbrush holder. If it's plastic or ceramic, rinse it with hot water and mild soap. Use a sponge or brush to scrub the bottom thoroughly. If you see black spots or mold, soak it in a mixture of warm water and a small splash of bleach for 10 to 15 minutes. Then rinse and dry completely before putting the brushes back in. If your holder has a lid or is wall-mounted, be sure to wipe all the crevices too. And here's a tip, especially for seniors. Do not store your toothbrushes while they're still wet. Let them air dry, and make sure the brushes don't touch one another. This simple habit helps reduce bacteria and keeps your mouth healthier. Because let's face it, What's the point of brushing your teeth if the container holding your brush is full of germs? Clean holder, clean toothbrush, clean start to the day. Tip 6, entrance mats. The first to get dirty, the last to be cleaned. Let's take a step outside, right to your front door. There's something comforting about a welcome mat. It says, "You are home now." It's the first thing you step on when you walk through the bonded door, and often the last thing anyone thinks to clean. Yet it's one of the dirtiest items in your home. Think about it. Your shoes carry dust, dirt, pollen, city grime, even traces of bacteria from the sidewalk. When you step on the mat, all that grime gets trapped. And if the mat isn't cleaned regularly, it becomes a breeding ground for odor, germs, and allergens. Even if you remove your shoes at the door, the damage is already done. The mat has already collected everything from your soles. One woman told me she couldn't understand why her living room always smelled a little like wet dog, and she didn't even have pets. After she finally washed the doormat, the smell vanished. It had been building up dirt and moisture for months without her realizing it. So what should you do every day, or at least a few times a week? Give the mat a good shake outdoors. Once a week, vacuum it thoroughly, including the underside. And once a month, if it's washable, rinse it with soap and water, then leave it to dry in the sun. Sunlight naturally helps kill bacteria and freshen the fabric. If your mat is made from a material that cannot get wet, wipe it down with a disinfectant spray or a cloth soaked in diluted vinegar. This one small habit can make a huge difference in the air quality of your home, especially for people with allergies or breathing sensitivities. And best of all, it gives that first step into your home a cleaner, calmer, more welcoming feeling. Because a clean entrance is not just about appearances, it's about the energy you bring inside. Tip 7, refrigerator handles, the forgotten touch point of the kitchen. Let's take a moment to appreciate how often we use the refrigerator, whether it's grabbing a snack, reaching for leftovers, or putting away groceries. The fridge door gets opened and closed dozens of times a day. But how often do we clean the handles? The answer for most people is rarely, if ever. And yet, this is one of the most touched, most germ-prone surfaces in your entire kitchen. Think about it. You might be handling raw meat, washing vegetables, or wiping up spills, then reaching for the fridge without even thinking. Over time, oils from your hands, grease from cooking, and food residue build up on the handle, creating a sticky, grimy layer. It happens slowly, so slowly that you might not even notice it until it feels unpleasant to the touch. One woman told me she thought her refrigerator was just old and dull. She was ready to replace it, but after one deep cleaning, especially of the handles, it looked brand new. It hadn't aged. It had just been hiding under months of built-up grime. Here's what to do. 2 times a week, take a microfiber cloth and wipe down the handles with a disinfectant or a simple solution of vinegar and mild soap. If the handle is stainless steel, use a cleaner that is safe for metal surfaces and dry it afterward to prevent water spots. For stubborn dirt, use a soft, bristle toothbrush to get around the edges. And don't forget the area near the rubber seal of the door. That's where moisture and food particles tend to hide. When the handles are clean, your whole kitchen feels fresher, and more importantly, you reduce the risk of spreading bacteria to your food or your family. Because in the heart of your home, the smallest details matter most. Tip 8. Window tracks and sliding door rails, the hidden dust trap. Now look at your windows or sliding glass doors. They let the light in, connect us to the outdoors, and bring fresh air into the house. But what about the tracks? The little grooves along the bottom where the windows or doors slide open. They're narrow, out of sight, and often completely ignored when we clean. But over time, they collect thick dust, hair, dead bugs, pollen, mold, and even bits of sand or leaves. This kind of dirt is not just unsightly. It can affect how the window or door functions. More importantly, it can impact your indoor air quality. One man told me he had lived in the same home for 15 years, and he had never once cleaned the window tracks. When he finally looked closely, he found a thick line of black grime packed with dust and mildew. After cleaning it out, not only did his window slide better, but his allergies improved noticeably. So how do you clean them? First, loosen the dirt with a dry brush. An old toothbrush works perfectly. Then vacuum up the loose debris with a narrow nozzle if you have one. Next, wrap a cloth around a butter knife or small spatula, dip it in a mix of vinegar and water, and gently scrub the tracks. For really tight corners, use a cotton swab. If it has been a long time since the last cleaning, you may need to repeat the process, but once it's done, you will feel the difference. Your windows will open smoothly, the air will feel fresher, and your space will be lighter, literally and figuratively. Because sometimes the cleanest change comes from the places we forget to look. Tip 9. Bathroom drains, the buildup below the surface. The bathroom is where we go to feel clean. We scrub, we rinse, we freshen up. But there's one part of the bathroom that almost everyone forgets until it becomes a problem: the drain. Whether it's in the shower or on the bathroom floor, the drain is where all the water goes. But it also collects everything else: hair, soap scum, dead skin, shampoo residue, and natural oils from our body. Over time, all of that turns into a thick, sticky sludge that clings to the inside of the pipes. It causes clogs, slow drainage, and worse, foul odors that seem to come from nowhere. And if you've ever wondered why your bathroom smells funny, even after cleaning, the drain might be the reason. One viewer shared with me that she always kept a clean bathroom, but there was a constant musty smell she could not get rid of. One day she removed the drain cover and found a thick buildup of hair and gunk. She was shocked. After cleaning it out, the smell was gone. Here's your weekly routine. Once a week, remove the drain cover and use gloves if needed. Pull out any visible hair or debris. Then pour boiling water down the drain to loosen any residue. Follow it with half a cup of baking soda and then 1 cup of white vinegar. Let it fizz for 10 minutes, then finish with more hot water. For stronger odors or heavy buildup, use a drain-safe disinfectant or enzyme cleaner. Keeping your drain clear not only helps prevent plumbing problems, it also keeps your bathroom smelling fresh and feeling truly clean. Because what's under the surface matters just as much as what we see on top. Tip 10. Lamps and lampshades. The dust you'd never think about. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you cleaned the lamps in your living room or the lampshades in your bedroom? If your answer is, I don't remember, you are definitely not alone. The lamps and lampshades are some of the most forgotten objects in the entire home when it comes to cleaning. They sit quietly, high up or on end tables, doing their job, bringing light, warmth, and comfort to our space. But over time, they gather a layer of fine dust that is nearly invisible at first, until one day you realize the light doesn't feel quite as bright, and the room feels a little stuffier than it used to. The dust that collects on lamps is not just cosmetic. It circulates through the air every time you turn on a fan, open a window, or even walk past. For those who have allergies, asthma, or any respiratory concerns, that dust can make a real difference in how you feel, especially at night. One older gentleman told me he thought his reading lamp was just getting dim with age. He even considered replacing the bulb. But when he finally dusted the lampshade, he realized the bulb was fine. It was the layer of the dust muting the glow. So here's what you can do. Every 2 weeks, gently clean your lamps. For fabric lampshades, use a soft brush, a microfiber cloth, or even a lint roller to lift away the dust. If you have the time, wipe it down with a slightly damp cloth. Just be careful not to soak the fabric. For glass or plastic lamp covers, a mixture of warm water and a few drops of dish soap works perfectly. Dry thoroughly to avoid water spots. If your lamp is overhead or hard to reach, use a safe step stool and always turn off the power first to be extra cautious. It might seem like a small thing, but when your lamps are clean, the whole room feels brighter, cozier, and more alive. And that's the beauty of it. It's not about the lamp. It's about the light it gives. A clean lamp brings light to your space, and light lifts your spirit. A clean home is a loved home. So now you know the places we forget to clean. The ones we walk past every day without noticing can have the biggest impact on how our home feels. Not just how it looks, but how it feels. You've learned about the doorknobs, the remote controls, the cabinet handles, the toothbrush holder, the baseboards, the fridge handle, the drain, and the lamps. All small things, but all meaningful. Because cleaning, when it's done with care and attention, becomes more than a task. It becomes an act of love, of comfort, of peace. You are not just wiping away dust. You are making your space safer. You are giving your body cleaner air to breathe. You are creating a home that feels calmer, more balanced, and more like you. And the best part? You do not have to do it all in one day. Just pick one of these spots this week. Maybe start with the one that surprised you most. Add it to your routine slowly. Let it become a rhythm, not a chore. Because the truth is, a well-kept home is not a perfect home. It is a home that receives attention, kindness, and care. Now, before we end, I would love to know, what part of your home have you been overlooking? Which of these small steps will you start with? If this video brought you a little clarity, or maybe even a little peace, I invite you to subscribe and stay connected. Here at Wise Elders Insight, we believe that wisdom is not just knowing what to do, it is doing it with heart. So take a deep breath, look around, and remember, real cleaning does not begin with a bucket. It begins with your eyes and with love.